War Room Sports. www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.
Welcome to Inside the War Room on War Room Sports TV. We're here with you today to talk a little bit of Kobe Bryant. I'm your host, Devin McMillan, and I'm here with my co-host, Jimmy Williams, B. Alston.
I'm here to get my culture cipher, God.
And Akil Bayan.
What up?
All right, fellas. So we know last week Kobe Bryant has become the newest member, the fifth member, in fact, into the 30,000 point club. Kobe, throughout his career, has been a very, very polarizing figure. So let's talk about a few things. Let's talk about, first of all, where he ranks right now in today's NBA. We know he had the torch for a while. I want to know if you guys have felt that he's passed it on. And then we'll talk a little bit about the reason he's so polarizing, why people love him, why people hate him, and then we'll end it off with his legacy. So right now, Doc Bay, where do you have Kobe ranked in the NBA right now as a player?
Okay, right now you have to go LeBron James 1, Kevin Durant 2. Then you probably have to go with Kobe Bryant at 3 because he's still playing at a high level. I mean, he's averaging 29 points per game, leading the NBA in scoring, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, close to 2 steals. He's shooting 47% from the field. He was shooting 49%. He's shooting 38% on threes, 86% from the foul line. And this year, he's even better than last year where he's taking 3 less shots a game, but shooting 1 more three-pointer, 1 more free throw per game, and averaging 2 more points a game. His turnovers are a little bit higher at 3.8 per game. Last year, he averaged 3.5 turnovers, and 2 years prior, he averaged about 3 turnovers. So even though Kobe is 34, he'll be 35 in August, I would say that he's third best player in the NBA because some people may pick Dwight Howard, but you can't really build the team around him. At least you can see that right now, and that's going to go far. Tim Duncan's old. Kevin Love isn't ready. Blake Griffin isn't ready. Dwayne Wade's getting old, and he's playing below his normal stature. So I say Kobe sits at number 3.
Yeah, Dwayne Wade had to step it down a little bit to actually gel with LeBron. As much of a Kobe fan I am, I think I would probably have to agree with 3. Sometimes, even though Kevin Durant is as talented as he is, sometimes I have trouble there. Sometimes I want to still put Kobe in that number 2 spot. So I'm kind of on the fence between 2 and 3. B. Alston, where do you have Kobe in today's NBA?
I think it's pretty clear that he's the number 2 player in the league, in the universe right now. He's atop the scoring list as of today. He's still playing at a level where every coach in the world is game planning for him. He's coming in and 17 years in at 34 years of age. I mean, Dr. Bayan just quoted all of the statistics, so I don't need to regurgitate that. Dude's number 2. And the reason that I put him over Kevin Durant and Carmelo Anthony, that's my 3 and my 4, is merely because it feels to me like he is more feared still than Kevin Durant, and that's kind of where I'm going.
Jimmy, as a resident Laker fan, where do you have, your home team guy?
Now, this is funny because here's where all my Laker fans are going to probably slander me. I don't have him in my top 3. I don't even have him in my top 5 at this point. Some people say I'm too harsh on Kobe being a Laker fan.
He's a hater.
But, I'm a Laker fan, so it's not that I'm hating on Kobe. I watch every play of every game. I watch NBA basketball every night. Carmelo Anthony right now is playing better basketball than Kobe Bryant. I'm not going to get into statistics. Kill gave you the statistics, but I would take Durant. I would take LeBron. Of course, LeBron's the best player in the universe. It's not even close. I would take Carmelo. I would take Durant. There's even guys like Chris Paul I would take. And statistically speaking, now listen to what I'm saying. Statistically speaking, it may not add up. But when you look at how he controls in a basketball game, he's playing at a level where you can put him on a team and he'll change the dynamic of that team. Kobe, of course, is a great scorer, always has been, and probably always will be as long as he plays. But in terms of the best player right now, I probably would have Kobe at 5 or 6, to be honest with you. I mean, and it's funny. No, no, let me finish. Let me finish. It's funny because I mean that's where I have him now and all time. I know we'll get into that later, but it's kind of the same thing. And I know you want to make a comment and say something about that, but I'm just being honest.
No, I just wanted to say you stating that you're a Lakers fan doesn't mean anything because I was an Eagles fan, and I hope that McNabb beeps. So that doesn't really hold any weight or water to say that because you're a fan of the Lakers doesn't mean that you're not hating on one of their players, because we all know what I feel about McNabb, and I'm an Eagles fan for life.
So you're admitting you're hating. You weren't being objective in your criticism of McNabb.
Yes, I hate him, but that's always been known. I've been honest.
No,
I've been
but
honest.
I don't. I mean, I don't hate Kobe. As a Lakers fan, I can't hate anyone that's contributed to 5 championships. I don't hate Kobe, but at the same time, I know a lot of Lakers fans I talk to on a daily basis when we talk basketball feel as though this guy can do no wrong and does no wrong because of what he has accomplished. I just try to be objective. I mean, this is part of the War Room Sports lifestyle is objectivity, and in doing so, this is where I personally see him.
All right, well, look, talking about hating and all that kind of stuff, we can segue into the next portion of this conversation. Not saying that that's what you're doing, Jimmy, but it's a great time to segue.
No, he is.
Nice, I'm good.
We all know that throughout his career, Kobe Bryant is one of those polarizing figures who, for the most part, it's either here or it's here with him. Either you love him,
Heaven or hell.
There's a few people in between, but it's not a lot of people in between. Why do you guys think that Kobe Bryant gets so much hate, from a lot of fans, in particular, a lot of fans from his hometown of Philadelphia? Who else?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
The reason that Kobe Bryant is so hated is because most fans can't relate to his they can't relate to several things. They can't relate to his work ethic. They can't relate to his killer instinct. They can't relate to the fact that he's kind of the anti-Jordan in terms of off the court, but he's so close to Michael Jordan on the court, it makes folks kind of uncomfortable. And I know because I was one of those people for a long time. I could be counted in the Kobe detractor fan, but I love basketball so much that the objectivity that Jimmy talked about a few moments ago is kind of where my great respect. I still wouldn't say that I like the guy, but my respect level for him is through the roof. I just think there's no way you can love basketball and not have a great level of respect for him unless it's outside of the realm of basketball. See, there are folks that kind of project other things onto him, and then when you analyze their conversation or their thoughts, it's really going beyond basketball as to why they dislike him. It's kind of like they're part of the contingent of folks from Eagle, Colorado. Now, if you're from Eagle, Colorado, obviously I can understand why you don't like Kobe Bryant, but it has nothing to do with his ball game. So that's where I think a lot of the hate comes from.
You're right. I mean, and the reason we even bring this up because, we try to stay away from the word hate here in the war room. It's a cop-out for a lot of arguments. But in the instance of Kobe Bryant, when we speak about him, the detractors do seem to always bring something up that has absolutely nothing to do with basketball. Like if I'm talking to someone about Kobe,
he's not a likable guy.
I hate him because he's arrogant. But the same person who's saying that loves Michael Jordan, I've never seen a human being more arrogant than Michael Jordan. But as I always repeat, I don't have a problem with arrogance. Like that's, if you're doing something at such a high level, then your confidence level should be at a point where it comes off as arrogance to people. So that doesn't bother me. I mean, it's just so much off the
everything. It's been everything. It's been he's a snitch. He's a snitch, so I don't like.
He's a snitch, or he broke up his team, or he was crying about this or crying about that.
He cheated on Vanessa.
But you can rarely get anybody to say anything constructively negative about his basketball game. Akil, what do you find when you speak about Kobe? What kind of stuff do people talk about?
Now, what I see several things at play here. One, he's so close to MJ in skill level and even championships, and having Phil Jackson as his coach, people are like, whoa, we can't have this guy past MJ. So then they say things to slight him. Two, the whole Kobe versus Shaq beef, people chose sides. Well, you know what? I'm going to ride for Shaq. Forget Kobe. I'm going to ride for Shaq. Then you have in Philly, well, he beat the Sixers in one of their few times chances to win a title in 2001, and he doesn't really come back home. I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but I don't hear of any Kobe Bryant camps. I don't hear of any Kobe Bryant, foundation situation in let's say in Philly. Then number four, we have the whole rape in Colorado. Not that it has anything to do with his game, but people are quick to say, "Oh yeah, he's a rapist. Oh, he did that." Then number five, you have LeBron fans, that say, "Well, you know what? In order for LeBron to be the greatest, we have to diss Kobe." And six, we have he doesn't really care what you think. He can give a blank about what you think about him, his game, what he did, and who he is. And seven, just off the court, people kind of see him as a jerk. So they say, you know what, I'm not going to like him.
The home thing kills me too, because everybody who's decided that I'm not going to like this guy, they automatically disown him from even being from Philadelphia. So a lot of people think because he played in Lower Merion that he isn't from Philadelphia. I'd like to let people know that Kobe Bryant was indeed born in Philadelphia. And when Jelly Bean, left town to play in Houston and then on to Italy, that's when they moved out, came back, and lived in the suburbs. So can we clear that up? Somebody go look up his bio so y'all can stop saying that stuff. But Jimmy, what do you think about, the reason Kobe gets a lot of slander and a lot of nitpicking after, so many accomplishments, 5 championships and what have you?
Austin made a lot of great points as well as Kill. Austin is probably the most qualified to answer this, considering he was one of those people. And we used to argue the other side when Austin hated Kobe. But with that being said, there's a lot of things. It's the similarities to playing like Mike. A lot of things there are his attitude. I mean, because let's face it. I mean, Kobe's not a likable guy. I mean, he's one of those cornball guys, to quote my man Rob Parker. But with that being said, like Austin also alluded to, if you like the game or love the game of basketball, you have to appreciate his game, how he approaches the game. And a lot of people don't understand that. Also, he played in a time where, social media and a lot of things became prevalent. So even if there were people that hated Mike this way, we kind of wouldn't know on the same level as we do Kobe. Now, Kobe had a lot of hate before that stuff came about. But once it came about, it's like on steroids, so to speak. We talk on Facebook and our warrensports.com/Facebook, shameless plug. We talk on there all the time to people, and they do come on and start talking about Kobe. And most of the hate has nothing at all to do with basketball. And then when they try to get it into basketball, they talk about he shoots too much. But those are the same people who love Allen Iverson, and nobody shot more than they are. So, that's like so it kind of doesn't make any sense. But he came in the league as a young guy. He's very accomplished. A lot of it is jealousy, and a lot of it is not being able to be related to. And
Can't relate to him.
And Austin said something that I don't know. You said that he's like different than Mike off the court. I don't know about that. I mean, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know. I just know that when you judge a player, you try to stay away. It's hard. It's very difficult. Let's be honest. It's very difficult to judge a player these days when you have access to their thoughts with Twitter. There's so many stories on TV about their personal life. But when you want to judge their game, you shouldn't try to bring that into it. It's very difficult. And I even find myself at times liking or not liking a person based upon something off court. But when you talk about their game, you have to be objective and talk just about their game. Because let me tell you guys something. One thing, working in sports media, a lot of times you have a feeling of how a certain player acts or behaves. And when you meet them,
completely different. It's
completely different one way or the other. Either they're a complete noodle or they're a complete humble person. So sometimes it's like you have heroes in life, and I guess the best thing is sometimes not to meet them. Because most of these guys are weirdos. But let's just talk about what they do on the field or court. If we're talking about just what they do on the court, Kobe Bryant is one of the top 10 players in the history of this game, and there's no denying that. Even with me putting him at, maybe 5 or 6 now, I mean, this guy's still one of the all-time greats, and he has to be respected as such.
I think just two things. I think when I say off the court, if you notice, Michael Jordan was a brand off the court. When he stepped off the court, the facade was still there. It was still Michael Jordan, the brand, not necessarily the person. Kobe
listen,
doesn't
though,
have that same
he
doesn't have
was
that same brand.
until he took the yams and cake. He was that brand. He had all that.
He was on the way, but he was never at Mike's level.
Not like Mike though.
Yeah,
I mean,
never at that level.
nobody's like Mike though.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
nobody's ever
that
nobody
brand,
feels like Mike.
that brand thing that Mike jumped out of one situation on the court into another situation off the court, which still really wasn't him. Whereas Kobe kind of leaves the court, and then because he's not that big brand, we get to see the person, and it's someone that people can't really relate to. And that kind of speaks to what my experience with him was in Philadelphia. I mean, when he would come to the different leagues, played in the Futures League, the Bakers League, the Conshohocken tournaments, all of that stuff, he still was standoffish. I know that you guys have some experience with that as well. It's like he would come, he would play, and then he would roll. He wasn't in the hood. He wasn't, he didn't play in the pubs. So it was just a little different having him around.
B. Austin, real quick. What's interesting about that is right now, Kobe, he doesn't hang out. Mike will hang out, go to this event, that event, be seen. Off the court, you don't see Kobe. And to speak to your point about meeting Kobe, I guess off the court, I ran into him at the McDonald's right across from Temple. Like it was summer '97 after
Club McDonald's.
Year, Club McDonald's, and it was him and Shotty Cooks like standing, on the corner, and everybody was kind of looking at Kobe like, ah. So I walked up to him, and he remembered me from us playing against each other. I actually stripped him, but anyway, he was like, yo, what's up? He was like, yo, what's up, man? I was like, what's up, man? Keep doing what you're doing. Good luck, your rookie season. Do your thing next year. And that was it. I mean, he was real cool and down to earth. But, you hear that, he's a jerk in most other instances.
Right.
Well,
right.
Also Kill, because it was the same thing down at the shop on South Street. He kind of gave us love when we had the rim shop down there. But at the same time, you have to remember that was early in his career. That's before he became Kobe Bryant. Of course, he's going to speak to us then because you're still coming off the bench at that point. But look, let's segue into this because Jimmy talked about how accomplished he is, and he spoke a little bit about his legacy. So here is his legacy. Of course, he just became a member of the 30,000 Point Club. He ranks 5th on the all-time scoring list. He's 3rd on the all-time postseason scoring list. He's been selected to 14 All-NBA teams, 10 times to the first team, 12 All-Defensive teams, 9 times to the All-Defensive first team, which is a record that he tied with Michael Jordan. He was selected to 14 All-Star games. He won All-Star MVP 4 times. Of course, he won a slam dunk contest. He has 5 60-point games, 25 50-point games, and 112 40-point games. And we know about the 81-point game. So where do you guys put Kobe Bryant all time as an individual NBA player? We can start with Jimmy since he already mentioned it a little bit.
It's funny because I've been thinking about this, especially over the last couple of weeks with his accomplishments. And I'll come to the conclusion that when you talk about all-time greats, you should have 2 lists. Those you've seen play and those you haven't seen play. Because in terms of the players that I've seen play, you're going to have Jordan, you're going to have Magic, you're going to have Bird, and then you're going to have Kareem, and then Kobe will be right there. If I start adding in guys I didn't see play, I will put Wilt there. That's why he's maybe 5 or 6. Depending upon whether we're talking about players I've seen play or players that I haven't seen play, but just from studying the sport and the history of the game. Because, the Wilt thing is crazy, So Wilt would have to go. Wilt, Kareem, Magic, Bird, and then Kobe. You know what I'm saying? And Jordan. So that's
so you put him over Jordan?
No. It's no order. It's no order.
Okay.
No order. What
gotcha.
I'm saying is those are the top 5 or 6 players in the history.
I have my shotgun loaded up.
Yeah, because I kind of understand what Jimmy is saying because, if us young guys did a list and, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Oscar Robertson weren't on that list, we might get stabbed in the chest by an older gentleman. But so, just being a historian of the game, I think when you think about those guys and you have to put them somewhere on the list, I probably would go MJ, Wilt. After that, it gets a little cloudy for me. So I definitely think that I put Kobe top 5 or 6 all time. I'll go 5 or 6. B. Austin, what do you have?
First, I would like to say that he's definitely the second best two guard to ever exist. So we get that out of the way. Like Jimmy said, love that point. You know, you've got to have a list of players that you've seen and then players that you haven't seen. And then for our listeners and audience, let's establish an official War Room position. We don't know whether Wilt existed. We're still trying to determine that because dude is probably Sasquatch. But if Wilt existed, then I would go MJ, then Wilt, and Kobe is in my top. He's in my top six. He's in my top six because of the completeness of his game. You know, on both ends of the floor, you've got some folks you can say, you know, Bird and Magic and those guys, great offensive players, great minds, but did they have the athleticism and the accomplishments that Kobe had on the defensive side of the court? And the thing that I love about the numbers, the aggregate numbers, is the fact that the things that make him such a polarizing figure, as time moves on and some of that fades, you'll always have those aggregate numbers with which to gauge. And I think that that will do him justice, especially with him playing at such a high level 17 years into his career. 17 years into a career, we have somebody leading the league in scoring. As great as and as high as I hold Michael Jordan, and I do think Mike is the number one of all time, even Mike can't talk about 17 years into his career playing at that type of level. Like, that's insane.
Kareem did.
Kareem can, but perimeter players, that's unheard of.
So Kill, where do you have his legacy?
I have Kobe's legacy at like either tied for 7 or 8 with Shaq. I have MJ number 1, Wilt number 2, Kareem number 3, Magic 4, Bird 5, Hakeem 6. And then Shaq and Kobe, they can flip flop or have that 7th place.
Yeah, you can't forget about the dream. You know what I'm saying? You can't forget about the dream. And shout out who's on Chase list? He probably got LeBron number 1.
Who's the greatest of all time?
Daddy.
MJ. He said MJ.
We got the tapes here. We watch things. All right, buddy.
No doubt. But yo, Kill, you made a great point because there's so many great players that we don't want to forget about because Hakeem didn't even come to mind, but when you bring his name up, you know, he has to be up there as well. And the one thing I want to say is it's funny, when you talk basketball every day, Larry Bird is like the forgotten man in the history of the NBA. No one ever brings up Larry Bird.
That's because you talk basketball with black people every day.
See, I wasn't even going there. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to go there. And by the way,
black people discount Larry Bird.
I do talk to some Anglo-Saxon males on a daily basis about basketball, but even those guys are like Michael Jordan fanatics who just like dismiss Larry Bird. So, well, you know, can never forget about Larry Bird and his greatness. That's all I want to say.
Shout out to Larry Legend.
When they come to our page, they have this thing in their head. They think this is some black forum, so they're probably scared to say what they need to say. Larry Bird was great, but this isn't about Larry Bird. This is about Kobe Bryant. He has cemented a hell of a legacy for himself, and these type of debates, these type of arguments are going to go on for a long time. If the Lakers can get their act together and maybe he can go out with a championship or two, which doesn't look likely right now, then the arguments are going to ratchet up even more, especially between he and his apparent idol, Michael Jordan. But thanks, guys, for another great episode with your opinions and thoughts. Everybody check out our videos at warroomsportstv.com. Make sure you like the videos. Make sure you comment on the videos because we will comment back and get the dialogue, you know, started with you. So we're going to sign off, but until next time, as usual, don't accept mediocrity and be steadfast in the war against ignorance. We out.
Wait, it's the War Room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, the first